Welcome to the BeyondBitcoin Whaletank. Be sure to follow the BeyondBitcoin tag on Steemit, as well as our Hangout host Official Fuzzy for the latest Whaletank updates. To participate in the discussion, simply find the weekly Whaletank RSVP post and RSVP with a topic or proposal in the comments. Whale shares create synergy between BitShares and Steem by rewarding developers and helpful community members. The Whaletank has already distributed over $70,000 in upvotes during its first month. You can also create and trade your own cryptographically secure whale tokens and get an automatic seat in the Whale Council. Whale shares work for the chain based on votes by the community. If you're interested in becoming a founding member of the Whale Council, let us know by sending an email to beyondbitcoin@gmail.com with the subject Whale Council. Be on the lookout for our new forums coming soon.
Welcome everyone to the BeyondBitcoin Whaletank. Today is Saturday, October 14th, 2017, and this is Hangout 228. We've been doing these Hangouts for quite some time now on a weekly basis, as you can tell by the number of Hangouts, and we consistently try to test things in the space while also enabling people to have a voice in the space, a place where they don't necessarily just have to go and pay money to get coverage. So though we do run into some governance issues at times and some issues with disagreements within the community, we have largely continued to do incredible things together, and I see amazing people working on projects every day. And what we like to do in the crypto space is we're a bunch of nerds, and we like to give people the ability to, in the Beyond Bitcoin ecosystem, to have a place where they can go and talk about their own projects and things that they're wanting to build in the crypto space. If you have a project in the crypto space, consider this a place where you can launch it and talk weekly about what you're doing and give updates and transparent news and question and answer sessions regarding what's going on. And this includes the barriers you encounter, the failures, and the ups and downs of building your own community and utilizing the blockchain and the tools that are available and growing every day beyond Bitcoin's use cases. So we offer one of those tools here using Steemit and BitShares called BeyondBits, and I leverage these to create a Whaletank Hangout where I can distribute tokens, and other whales can create their own upvoting tokens to distribute at these Hangouts to projects that join up and RSVP on Steemit.com every week. So we utilize upvotes on Steemit to figure out who is going to be first, second, third, the order of precedence for these Hangouts. However, we've added a little twist in the most recent iterations of Whaletank, and that is we have a power-up feature. You can utilize the power-up feature if you have a token that trades on the BitShares DEX. So if you have a token that is on the BitShares DEX and you provide the link to trading that on your RSVP, you will get a double of your current vote, which might send you to the top. There have been 2 people today who have bumped up 2 spots by having their own coins. They are now 3rd and 4th because of their own coins. Now, with that said, there's another potential power-up that you can utilize. You can utilize your tokens to share drop on a list of attendees here. In order to get more time, you start with the default of 15 minutes. With that said, there's a final bonus to people who have a token that is trading on the BitShares DEX. Every week, I choose a project that is going to receive 1,000 Beyond Bits, which is good for 10 100% upvotes from my whale account on Steemit. Now you can use that to gain visibility on multiple posts and also pay yourself for posting to Steemit about your project. You're paid now to advertise your own project. If we like what you're doing and if you prove yourself over time, you have a very high chance of at least receiving one of these 1,000 Beyond Bit rewards. However, at the end of every week, if you feel like you do not believe that the project that gained those tokens would be the best use of our Beyond Bits, you can leverage those tokens to offer token offerings to the people who attend these Hangouts and sign the guest list at some point within the Hangout, and honor them with some of your tokens for a potential opportunity to change that 1,000 tokens to go to you. So I'm trying to give you the opportunity to leverage token creation to start using it and benefiting yourself in different various ways. It would be cool to see what all of you do, and it's cool to see the projects that are joining today, especially the ones that have tokens on the BitShares DEX. So with that said, we're going to start out with the order of precedence for today, and that is going to be starting out Mark Whittam of the Family Protection Agency. This has 58 votes, guys, and this is insane. We don't very often get 58 votes on something. I love the idea, and I look forward to hearing from you. Next up is going to be PBSA, and they are the people who oversee the building of and maintenance on the Peerplays chain, the launching of thereof as well. So they have been doing some really cool things, and that's another delegated proof-of-stake chain. And it is for gaming and all kinds of other cool use cases that I'm sure we can get into. Up after that is going to be BamBam 808, and they have something called SKILLCoin, and they doubled their rewards today by having the SKILLCoin market placed in their post. Nutela joined up as well, provided the Nutela token, and he is going to be talking about his transcription service, followed by azizbd, and that is going to be they're talking about the project for underprivileged children and a school for them. After which we will be followed by Steemit World Map, who is going to be talking about a pretty cool project about posting yourself to the map whenever you post. So with that said, thank you everybody for stepping into the gladiator ring today and telling everybody a little bit about what you're doing. You will have your Hangout segmented and posted to the Beyond Bitcoin Community SoundCloud. Please consider sharing your Hangout, your segment, on social media and asking others to do so as well. Passing out your own content and creating a network of people who pass out this content is going to be extremely valuable. Thank you very much, and let's go ahead and get started with Mark Whittam of Family Protection.
Hello everybody, my name's Mark Whittam, and I'm here to tell you about family protection. I suppose I'll start off by telling you about the project, and then I'll go into why we came up with this idea and why we're going to start it, and then I'm going to let Linda take over and explain why she's involved. Linda is at Canadian Coconut. She is the, you could say my partner in this project. So, okay, right. Well, first and foremost, we are a support group. We're going to help and support people, families especially, that are increasingly finding themselves under scrutiny from child protection services. This seems to be a big problem at the moment. It happened to me, and when it happened to me, I looked into it, and it seems that it's happening to a lot of people. Loving families are being torn apart by an agency that makes money from putting kids in care. So first and foremost, we're going to be a support group. We're going to offer help and support. And then one day, hopefully, we'll be able to offer funds so that people can have their day in court if needed, or if they just need to escape whatever country they're in to get away from the situation. So, and every penny we raise is going to be used just for the families. Basically, I came up with the idea, but I didn't want to be in control of the funds, so I asked Linda to open an account that will hold the funds, which is the Family Protection account on Steemit. Basically, so I could show that, I want somebody trustworthy in control of the funds so that nobody thinks I'm doing this for my own benefit. I will not benefit from any of the funds. I want it to be the way all charities should be, which is 100% of the money goes to the people that need it. And what else are we going to offer? We're going to offer legal advice. Hopefully, we're going to get some people on the team that are pretty clued up on the legal side of things. And we're going to raise awareness. That is mainly what we're going to do in the beginning. Raise awareness by doing posts about stories, about my personal stories, my personal battles with them, and stuff like that. So that's mainly what we're going to start with. Actually, is raising awareness. Because I believe the more that people know about this, the less chance there is that they will suffer at the hands of CPS, the Child Protection Services. And then, and another thing we're going to do as well is we're going to offer people the chance to have their say, but maybe they want to be anonymous. And so what they can do is write up a story of their own story or a story of close friends and family, and they can just send us the text, and we will publish it under the family protection account. That way they can do it anonymously, but still have their say and be heard. And we are going to try and think of a way that we can offer these people a reward for putting their time and effort into spreading awareness on this subject. That's basically what we're going to do, and we're going to do it through Steemit and use the blockchain and cryptos to help this along. How did it all start? Well, I suppose I'll go into that now. We basically, I am a father. I have 4 children. Me and my wife, we travel half the year, and we go back to Sweden to work for half the year. And we've been doing this for over four years now, and it works really well. Our children get to see the world. They get to learn from seeing and doing, and we educate them at home. But in Sweden, it's illegal to do this. It's illegal to homeschool. So we knew this when we had our first child. So that is why we sold our house, and we brought a big truck, and we live in our truck. We fixed it out to an RV. It's So we travel around in our truck, and we did this because we knew we would have to leave Sweden at one point when Marley has to go to school, our oldest daughter. So anyway, we knew we'd have to leave. We was preparing, and then we was getting ready to leave. About a few weeks before we was leaving, we got a phone call from the school, and they said that if are we sending our kid to school? And we said no, we want to continue doing what we're doing. And they said, okay, well, if you don't send her to school on Monday, we'll send social services round. You will get fined for every day that you don't send your child to school, and the likelihood is that she will get taken into care. At first we thought it was just threats, but anyway, I told my story on Steemit, and I got a huge response from everybody, and it was just amazing. The amount of support came flooding through was just unbelievable, and it really helped us. Anyway, one of the readers of the post sent me a link to a story about a kid in Sweden that got snatched from their parents as he was trying to leave the country. It was a mother and father. The mother was from India, and they were going to move to India. They didn't want to send the kid to school because they were moving to India, and they went to court and said this in court, and the court was like, okay, that's fine. When are you thinking of leaving? They told them the leaving date, and they got on the plane. They thought they was, on the plane, ready to go to India. And the SWAT team came on the plane and snatched the kid. And that was 7 years ago. And the kid was 7 years old. The kid is now 14, and they still haven't got their kid back. And yeah, they're not even allowed to see their kid. It is, yeah. So when I read that story from one of the readers, I suddenly took the situation a lot more seriously. And we decided to leave the country as soon as possible. So we got in our truck, we packed it all up. Yeah. And we just left for the nearest border, which was Finland. And yeah, so basically that's my story. We had to leave, and the response I got was just amazing. And then I did the follow-up story about us leaving, and we just got so much love and so much support, and also so many people coming forward and saying this has happened to me, or I know someone that this has happened to. This is happening in this country, it's happening in Germany, it's happening in America, it's happening everywhere. And so I decided, okay, well, we should do something about this. We need to raise awareness, because I was not aware of this. And the people that got on the plane with their children, they were not aware of this, and if they were, they might have taken drastic action like we did. And,
yeah.
So yeah, first and foremost, we just want to raise awareness, and we want to offer support like I got, like our family got. We got so much support and so much help from the Steemit, just on Steemit alone. I mean, it was unbelievable. We got like 390 comments, 500 upvotes. It was an amazing response, and it really helped us. I mean, we didn't feel alone. We felt like we had support, and that we could, and we had so much love, and it was just amazing. And that is what I want to offer to people that are in a similar situation to me, or those parents that sadly have not got their kid back yet. And so yeah, I've been doing stories, trying to raise awareness. The more I look into it, the more I uncover just some horror stories. And yeah, so that's what we want to do, and that's why I want to do it. And I was wondering if Linda, Canadian Coconut, if you would like to hop in and sort of explain why you're part of this.
Okay. When I first heard Mark's story, it touched me a lot, and I re-steamed it and told people about it and shared some of my experiences. My family, fortunately, hasn't been bothered by social services, but when I first moved to this small town I'm in, my first good friend I made told me her harrowing experience with them, how her child was taken away and she finally got her child back. And then two other people that I met here, one very good friend of mine and another very young mother, went through terrible experiences with them that I was able to help them through, partly because of the First Lady's experience that she had told me. And that's just in a really small town. They try to get kids away from good parents. They trick you. They break the laws of Canada, anything they can do to just trick you into doing something that they can use against you and take your kids. So I don't want to see this happen to anybody else. And people need to know, because I know when I was walking one of my good friends through my whole experience, and I told her right from the beginning how evil social services was and what they would try to do, and she didn't really believe me. And then she saw it happen as I told her day by day what was going on, and she was just in shock. And this is, your average person, a good person, they just can't believe that the government would do this. They think that they're actually trying to help children. So I've seen it with my own eyes, and it was Mark's idea, but he asked me to join him, and I can't say no because it's a great project and people need to be aware so that this doesn't happen to them, and they need help if it is happening to them. So that's it, I guess.
Wow. I don't know how many of you guys have a baby, but if you got a kid and you know how much you would do for that child, and you live in a place where more and more we're starting to realize how little we can trust from the venues of everyday media consumption, and the institutions that have been set out to protect us more and more are being noticed to becoming, whether they've been this way for a long time and we're just noticing it, or it's a wind up of this. There's definitely a lot of anger and frustration that can come from seeing this specifically, because whenever the corruption and all this stuff touches our babies and our children and our abilities to protect them, like with Steam Power Picks actually posted something below you guys where it's saying if you think it can't happen in America, there's a lady who was detained and her child taken into custody for refusing to give them a vaccine, and which is, this is the parent, that's their choice, right? That's what it should be. And these types of things are used, and more we're also hearing about things like these children who are taken into custody are becoming victims of other terrible things, right? So my heart goes out to you guys, and I will say this: you guys have big hearts for your child to be leaving and taking everything and saying, I'm out of here, because it's that bad. It's kind of sad to hear it, though. I'm not gonna lie. It makes us need things like blockchain technology more and more, right?
Yeah, absolutely. These stories are not covered in the news, so yeah, they will be covered on Steemit and on the blockchain instead, I suppose.
Yes, actually, I've heard from families locally trying to reach out to the press about their stories, and the press just won't cover it. They won't touch it most of the time. So we do need something like Steemit to get the stories out there.
Well, I'll say this: we have been wanting to let people broadcast how they use technology beyond Bitcoin to benefit the causes that they believe in. So I would urge you guys to consider looking into the blockchain technology that exists. Steemit is a tool. There are many tools that are going to exist in the future, and maybe, just maybe, some of us will be able to build some of these tools to substantially help with these types of initiatives. We don't have a whole lot of time to talk today, but I would like to open it up for maybe a minute for everybody to ask a question or make a comment.
Yeah, so I'd like to know how many people here know about the fact of the birth certificate thing, and that you're actually like a security of the state, unless you do something about it, because it's actually a non-binding contract with the state. And I'm trying to make people aware of it for quite some time. But it's kind of like a scary topic, because, the police, they will say, what the F are you talking about? Right? And so that's a very interesting topic. And with that actually goes the thing that if you have a blockchain, sort of could preempt the government by creating like an identity on the blockchain instead of giving your name away or your child away by actually registering it to the government.
Out of curiosity, does anybody else have any other points that they'd like to bring up? We have time for one more person.
I just want to chime in, and I encourage this idea of raising awareness and advice to parents of children whose kids are not necessarily in school, and that's very valuable for them to be aware of what to be cautious of.
Thank you.
We are just past time, and what I can do, if you guys would like to go for another 5 minutes, I will pay 100 Beyond Bits to everybody, and I'm going to start passing them out every month, just so you guys know.
Fuzzy, this sounds like a really good topic, so I'm okay if you guys want to go an extra 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. I suppose the one thing I forgot to mention as well, why I'm so passionate about this subject, is the fact that I grew up in foster care. And so I know from personal experience that that this should be the last possible option to take someone's child and place them into care for protection. It's just there is no protection in care, in foster care. There is not a lot of care there either. I consider myself lucky. I grew up in care, and I wasn't abused. But I put that down to the fact that I was quite a mouthy, loud little child, and I was not a pushover, even as a little child. But I have many, many friends from care, from the foster care system and the care home system, that were not so lucky. And this is why I'm so passionate about this. That I know that how they think they can take a child from their loving parents, and even if the parents have got problems, we all have problems, but there's no way that child will be better off placed in the care of people that are just there for the money. So yeah, that is. I just wanted to add that I'm very passionate about this, because I've been in care, and then on the flip side of it, they threatened to take my kids and put them in care, and it's just like, no, it's not going to happen, and it shouldn't happen to anybody. Yeah, that's what I'd like to say.
Sometimes the child has a poor situation at home because the parents do have problems, like you say, but the problems can be a lot worse in care. So are they really helping these children by taking them away? Maybe they should just give the parents a few tools to become better parents instead of just snatching their children.
Some would say there's an agenda that goes beyond it in some places. Now, I won't get too deep into it other than to say that there's a lot of stuff that's going on in America with proposed things with pedophilia, known things with pedophilia. I mean, one of our congressmen was into those things. And if you do some reading on the internet, there's a lot of people who say that the children that are brought into these institutions, not all of them, of course, but that's one of the prime places where these children are targets, because they don't have a lot of people who are looking out for them. And it's not always, of course, the children that are taken from their parents and have somebody actively going after them and trying to get them back. But the point is that this is the type of place that if you have a parent who's not around to take care of their child, that's the person who's going to die for that child. That's the person who's willing to, guaranteed almost all the time, you're going to sacrifice for your child. And yes, unless there's something where they're shooting up heroin and things like that, I can see, but man, there have to be better ways, and there have to be things that we can fix, and we can protect our children. So I will urge you guys to consider coming back on and giving updates on your project, letting me know if you guys have ideas for tools that we can help fund using Beyond Bits to help give you guys the ability to amplify what you're doing.
Can I just throw something in quick?
Of course, Alex. You got 1 minute.
Yeah, I remember the story when I saw it, and just to add, and this is really a problem across the world, and sadly it boils down to as usual, money, because a lot of these social workers and such and the organizations behind them get more money by taking more kids away. I mean, it's really screwed up. And I'm just going to post a link here about, yeah, exactly. It's all misaligned incentives again. And when you get a chance, check out this post I had read on Steemit maybe a month or so ago about what was happening in Canada. I mean, it's heart-wrenching also, and something they might, you might all want to be involved with too, since it's on the same line.
Thank you. And also, if anybody has a story they want to share or some advice because they've been through this, make sure you tag your post, Family Protection. That way we'll see your post and we may re-steam it for everybody that follows Family Protection to be able to find your story.
Well, I will say I urge you guys to consider continuing on this project. It sounds like I don't have to say that though. So please tell people how they can reach out to you.
Yes, basically, you can contact me anonymously, privately, via my email, and that is my username at hotmail.com. So it's markwhittam at hotmail.com. I'm in the middle of doing a post. I will publish it shortly, which will explain how you can contact me. Otherwise, there's Steemit chat, or if you don't want to be anonymous, then just through the Family Protection, just look it up at Family Protection and just comment on one of the posts that we do. That's probably the best way.
Well, thank you very much. And I urge anybody who feels like they resonate with this subject to reach out and offer your advice, your support, anything that you can offer, because everyone here offers their own unique value propositions to various projects. I, of course, would love to delve deeper into this, so I'd love to hear more from you guys. And I also think that there's going to be, unfortunately, there's always barriers and things that will need to be figured out to maximize the efficiency and effectiveness of it. And I think that we can all brainstorm and war room all that stuff too. So this project can also weather storms as far as attacks that might potentially come and other kinds of things, that barriers and roadblocks that it might encounter along the way. It's definitely a project that I'm very interested in, and I have some interest in helping you guys. So please keep around if you can for the after party.
Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely.
And feel free to reach out to me at beyondbitcoin@gmail.com. Now, with that said, thank you for joining up, and we'll go ahead and we're going to move on to Peerplays, who is going to be represented by JBahai. And is Crypto Prometheus available today, or is it going to be you discussing?
It'll be just me today, Fuzzy.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. All right, so feel free to step up to the plate. For those of you who are new, Jonathan is no stranger to Beyond Bitcoin. They launched Peerplays in these Hangouts, and they're doing some really cool things behind the scenes, and now they're out for an update.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Hello, everybody. My name is JBahai. I'm the president of the Peerplays Blockchain Standards Association. It is the association which is heading up the Peerplays project and producing provably fair gaming standards. And as many of you know, we brought out with a release 2 weeks ago. I'm actually coming to you from downtown Truro right now, which is why there's a little bit of background noise. Truro is this town that's right next to the bunker, actually. There's all kinds of things going on, so a little bit of background noise today, unlike usually when I'm doing updates from the bunker, where it's nice and quiet. 2 weeks ago, we put out a release about the current updates with the Peerplays blockchain project. PBSA has gone through a lot of growing over the course of the last while. In the update, we talked about how Bookie has now been separated into two different projects, one where there is Bookie Pro and one where there is Bookie Pro version, and then there is going to be a mobile version. And the reason for that is because we have two different markets that we're really looking to roll out with. First, of course, is going to be the professional market, and then after that, going towards the more casual user, where we'll be able to target the casual user with the mobile type of application. So we talked about all that in the update a couple of weeks ago. So I highly recommend, if you hadn't joined our newsletter, then you should. We also posted it in our Steemit account, so you can look at that as well. And that'll give you more information on where the project's at. In terms of communications, as many people have pointed out in the Telegram channel, there's been some communication issues over the course of the last little while. We have come out with a totally different type of format where we're going to be now every 2 weeks we'll be joining the show here with Beyond Bitcoin, and then the following 2 weeks after that we'll be doing an update similar to what we did 2 weeks ago. So you can expect ongoing updates on a 2 week cycle. As far as other updates go with our social channel, those are going to be changing over time. At present, Robin Wilkie is no longer with the PBSA, and we are in the process of actually onboarding a new communication manager. So there will be a change in that format as well. Aside from that, the Bookie project is doing well, although it is slightly delayed from our original milestones. And that otherwise, it's really doing great. We're looking forward to bringing you more information on that soon. And recently, you may know that HelmBet, the project which was a rock, paper, scissors, has recently gone from testnet to livenet. Now, as soon as it went to LiveNet, there was some small issues in regards to API connectivity, but I believe those are going to be resolved on Monday. So unfortunately, developers are gone over the weekend, but on Monday that will be resolved, and then everybody will be able to actually start gaining profit shares within the Peerplays blockchain thanks to the activity with rock, paper, scissors.
Nice.
So, in addition to that, we have, you may know also from the update that the Peerplays 8, as it was called, is no longer at present. It may come in the future, but it isn't something that we have within scope at present. Instead, we decided it was best to focus on Bookie, seeing as that is going to be the premier application for Peerplays blockchain. And also, in terms of beyond updates from the last update, we have quite a few staff members who have joined the PBSA. We have a new project manager. We have several new developers. All of us at the bunker are growing leaps and bounds. So it's really exciting. You can expect that as our social media starts to pick up, we're going to start to do things like more photos of life at the bunker and things like that. And yeah, so that's about it as far as updates go. I'd like to be able to field any questions that anybody has right now.
So you guys are plodding along pretty well. You have a pretty nice sized Telegram that I see is pretty active as well. Bookie is very much on its way forward. And it sounds to me like you guys are actually building more people. You're getting more people for the team. That's correct, right?
In terms of the team, like I said, yeah, there is a lot of growth happening. We've hired a lot more programmers. New project manager, head of operations is busy at the bunker now, along with other developers which we've contracted to make sure that the Bookie application, when it does come out, is just going to be like the most amazing application you'd ever seen in the blockchain space. We want to make sure that this is going to be something which is going to be able to hit the mass audience and be able to handle transactions that the blockchain space has never really seen before. In terms of the sirens in the background, by the way, that's actually because there's an event happening here in Truro with the fire department and the police department and whatnot. They're doing a big thing in town square with all the kids and whatnot. So I guess they're making a lot of noise for it. Anyways, so that's what's going on. But besides that, part of the reason why we've changed our protocols in terms of communication is because we are implementing plans which have been given to us by Spark. Spark PR is a major PR firm out of the US. They've been involved with a lot of the big projects that are out there. If you go to sparkchain.com, you can see the Peerplays logos on there now. So they are actually going to be assisting in the product rollout with the Bookie. So that's going to be a really big help in terms of making sure that the way that this gets implemented into the marketplace is going to be done right.
Well, I know that Bookie is considered to be, I'd say, the flagship. We can say that rock, paper, scissors is technically, but for those who are not familiar, rock, paper, scissors is an on-chain game. It's a proof of concept that shows that they can use the blockchain and delegated proof of stake graphene chain for this, and for multiple other use cases that can plug into it, essentially using the blockchain as the database that will run off of it and the engine for it. So now you guys have Bookie, which is going to be essentially sports betting and various things like that, and that's a huge deal. Just to make it clear for those who are new, but really quickly, there have been some questions that are in the community here. IntelliGuy, I believe, has a question, and there are a couple other ones, but he was first. Do you mind taking a question from IntelliGuy?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, my question is that, like a lot of casinos, you walk in, they always put what the potential win is on their progressive slots, or they'll take a photo of somebody holding up a check or something like that. Same with lottery corporations. A lot of them will advertise, $10 million was won in this city and that sort of thing. They constantly pump what the actual big wins is because it's attractive to people that get involved in gambling. I know that this space is like somewhat anonymous and that sort of thing, but is it possible to report these big wins? Is that factored into the way Peerplays is designed to showcase what a good gambling avenue this is for the amount of money that actually runs through the system?
So the capability to publish the big wins would largely be simply a block explorer that focuses on that type of data. It wouldn't surprise me if somebody actually came out with a site that talks about Peerplays big wins and something that people use to actually refer others to the platform. It's certainly going to help with the referral program for somebody to do that. So that makes sense for somebody who would like to promote Peerplays to put out something like to attract users. Aside from that, somebody actually published a website recently. It was shared in the Telegram channel. I believe it's called peerplayscalculator.com, playsprofits.com. If you go to telegram.com, you'll see, or even to our Telegram channel, you'll see that somebody has published this calculator that shows the kind of profits you would make from the profit sharing in Peerplays, depending on how much revenues are generated in the network.
Does that answer your question, IntelliGuy?
I think he did. It's getting to a point where big wins are going to become something. He's just given a business opportunity to somebody who wants to start building off of it, as well as he also said, if you want to get involved in the profit sharing, there's still ways to do that. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, well, we know that lotteries are effective, and we know from, basic Psych 101 stuff, right, that people respond to these big wins and seeing these big wins, and they miscalculate the risk versus the reward because how big these things are. And it's one of those things where that's why you see people saying, oh, you won X, Y, and Z. But the cool thing about Peerplays is they have these other projects out there that, that don't have blockchains like lotteries and things like that. They can really game the system, and they're almost more incentive. There's more incentive to, with something like Peerplays as the mediator of all that. It kind of really fixes a lot of that stuff too. At least it takes us in that direction, right? Now, does anybody else have any questions or comments? And Jonathan, are you still with us?
I'm still here. They haven't taken me away yet, Fuzzy.
Okay, just wanted to make sure that because you guys have Bookie coming, and this is something that's going to be not really, gambling, so to speak. It's sports betting, which is a huge thing in and of itself, right? So I would love to see what it's going to be like when Bookie comes out. Have you guys had any opportunity to, is there anything as far as like that you can touch today that maybe you're not talking about? You have any inside secrets for us?
So the Bookie project, as far as, the interface for it is just absolutely beautiful. You can use it, and we've really been designing it with the thought that you want to use this thing and not see that you're actually using a blockchain. It's something which is very responsive. It's very easy and intuitive. It's being designed by people who are actually in the sports betting industry, who know what's out there now, know the downfalls, and know how to improve on it. So that's about all I can tell you about in terms of the kind of experience that people are gonna have on this. I can also tell you that we've been contacted by numerous people in the industry who use current sports betting sites, interested in the possibilities of what Peerplays offers as an opportunity.
Great news. Well, you are now at the 15-minute mark. Do you need more time today, or are you good at the 15-minute mark?
No, these sirens seem to be closing in on me, so I better get going.
Sounds good. Well, thank you for joining us and providing some updates. It's always nice to hear from you guys. I know you're always busy working, so I knew it was only a matter of time before you popped up and said what was going on. So I look forward to seeing what's going on and seeing what you guys come up with. Now, really quickly, before I let you go, Jonathan, how do people reach out to you guys if they want to volunteer or work with you guys in any way, shape, or form?
So there's our social media channels. You can go to Facebook or Twitter and find @Peerplays. You could also be able to reach us at the Telegram channels. If you're looking to do more, you could also send an email to info@pbsa.info to reach somebody to talk about connecting with us. And that's about it.
Well, thanks for all the work that you guys do. I know that Michael's running around all over the place doing different things for you, and there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. So looking forward to seeing what has come from all of this, because a lot of people, for anybody who doesn't know, Peerplays did a 2-stage donation drive for their tokens. And it was, the first stage was to prove that they could do things. They didn't ask for a whole lot of money up front. The second stage was to do things after they've shown that they could do things, which is kind of something that you don't see very often in the crypto space. So just something worth bringing up and worth noting in the history of our little Hangout ecosystem here, that Peerplays has been a pretty solid foundational role in the development of this entire little ecosystem that we have. And I thank you for being part of it. And also, of course, share their content to other people who might enjoy it. Now, with that said, let's go ahead and we will step up with Bam Bam 808, and he's going to talk a little bit about SKILLCoin. Bam Bam 808, are you there?
I'm here. Just on the phone. Sorry about that.
I was getting nervous. Oh, you're on the phone with all your agents. Okay, I'll step back and let you step up to the plate, buddy.
So I want to start out first by saying that I woke up this morning and found out I caught the attention of the infamous Sanders trail. So that's always fun. But yeah, I just wanted to announce I was here last week discussing the SKILLCoin. And I've been working pretty hard trying to, the main thing was adding value and value prop. And I've come up with, actually, I don't think he's in the room. He is in the room, BTC Venom. We are pairing the SKILLCoin with the NinjaWhale, similar to the whale shares or BeyondBit. Currently, there's some things we're dealing with as far as the NinjaWhale. Currently the 0.4 SBD does not equal to what you get out of it per se, which is something we're really pushing this week. We're pushing for some delegation, and me and BTC Venom are working on that pretty hard to make it so that it is a mutually beneficial, because apparently people are really looking at payouts. We had originally discussed that it was going to be, we knew it was small and it's just in its beginnings, but we wanted to be able to provide upvotes and whatnot. While they don't have a lot of weight per se, the weight will come. And like I said, we're working on delegation so that we can instantly get that to be something that is very beneficial for the community. Hence why I've been trying to give out these coins and not charge people, because it isn't a huge benefit right now other than getting a good amount of upvotes. They're great for people who already have, Beyond Bits or whale shares to kind of upvote them. But here, after this delegation is done, we'll be looking pretty strong here.
Well, I will go ahead and I will summon the silence monster first before I talk. Does anybody have any questions, comments that they'd like to bring up for Bam Bam 808?
I do. Regarding SKILLCoin, will it be like the whale shares or Beyond Bits, which with the delegation obviously, where you could upload a post directly with SKILLCoin?
You'll transfer it similar to how you send them to whale shares. You'll be sending them to me, and then right now we're working on the coding to have it automated. It's something that's pretty tough to figure out, as I believe Fuzzy's mainly the only one to do it. But currently I'll be manually doing it, as I have access to activate the trail.
I'll get it done for you, buddy. This is a tool I appreciate.
And as far as Fuzzy's question of what the SKILLCoin is meant for, it's meant to, as far as giving them out, I'm giving them out to people who, exactly like Ishmael said, winners of talent shows. I've reached out and begun sponsoring contests that I really enjoy and that I think that will, really benefit the community, such as the Steemit Iron Chef ran by Progressive Chef. So yeah, SKILLCoin is basically for rewarding creative and quality content that then, after this delegation is through, people will be able to be rewarded for their efforts, people who may not be getting rewarded currently.
Anybody else have any questions or comments? I can talk all day about this stuff, people. Okay, what I'll say is there's already a lot of competitions and stuff like that, right? And you do the Steemit has got talent type of thing, and the gamers guild essentially, right? So how do those play into SKILLCoin individually as you see it at present?
Currently, the SKILLCoin are being given, as some of you may know, those who follow Steemit's Got Talent. Next week, we're going to be starting the eliminations. So we're culminating and bringing together all the first place winners from the last 10 weeks, what I call the open qualifiers. And so I've been giving out SKILLCoin as a prize for winners. And then as far as the GS Gaming, I haven't been putting out as many posts as I'd like. I've been a little busy trying to push these other projects, but that will be used either directly to, either given out to the author to see as they want to use, or directly given towards an upvote on their post, which then they receive the payouts for. I like to leave that community pretty open, so that'll be something that I'll bring up to the community and see what everybody thinks. I'm one of those, if some people want to have them sent to them and they can use them as they want, great. If some people, I want to make as many people as I can happy. So
do you see, this is going to be maybe a question that's, I have to ask the hard one, kind of like what IntelliGuy says. Sometimes he says, I'm going to ask the question nobody wants to ask right now. Do you see people gaming the system as you are planning it? Do you see people using it and abusing it?
As far as the token system?
Yeah, and most, especially with respect to the token distribution and use thereof.
As far as the token distribution, I'd say I start out by saying anything can be abused, and there's always going to be those people who are going to try to abuse it. There's just the abuser type people. But I would say as far as giving them out, luckily I've personally had all the asset and have been giving it out to, trusted people. People like Marky Mark has some, Progressive Chef. There's other people that are in this room that I've, sent them out to. So I'm not just kind of turning into Oprah and going, everybody look under your seat, coins for you. And I really want it to stand for something and really reward those people that deserve them.
Do you feel like people respond more whenever you want to distribute coins to them as opposed to what you did before, or what you received before?
I wouldn't say that I've noticed a huge difference. I had a couple people who I didn't really know that kind of jumped into my Discord and, I saw this token, and trying to kind of buddy up real quick. But, I'm pretty good at reading through things like that. But
that's an answer right there to me.
I think you gotta, on this platform, you definitely gotta have your wits about you and be able to read through the BS and quote unquote read people's true intentions pretty quickly. And it's hard because you're not face to face with them. But luckily, like Mark Whittam's project, I grew up kind of in the system. So I grew up quick, and you learn how to read people because it's survival.
Yeah, it's hard to read people. That's why I love what you're doing and with the allowing people to have fun and compete and create and prove themselves over time seems like the best method for me. Now, one thing that I will bring up in addition to that is, if you're interested, we, behind the scenes, have created a trust token that is going to enable people to use the tokens for upvotes and things like that in the future. It's going to be an option. And this would be a token that maybe you could sell it for these actual tokens, right? Like the SKILLCoins. If you have 1,000 SKILLCoins, you can buy a trust token, and now you can actually start using the token to upvote yourself and get other special features like maybe a mass re-steam, things like that, right? And would you be interested in something like that if I were to tell you that these would be tools that we can build and that we are building?
I think that's an interesting idea. I think I'm definitely interested in hearing more about it and whatnot. I think, there's the Ninja Trail that but they don't really have, like you said, a re-steaming service. There's a lot of scams about it, but there's none that I've seen that are very highly, regarded on the platform.
Yeah, somebody was bringing up these trust and all this stuff. We'll talk a little bit more about this in the future, but I do want to let you know that I'm glad that you have made a token. I'm glad to see what you're doing with it. It's a very important step ahead, I think, for all these different projects to create their own tokens. And I look forward to seeing what you guys do with them. Does anybody have any questions or comments that they'd like to bring up?
I do want to hop in and say thank you to the people who have, given me advice and whatnot. I know I've talked to Mark about it. Consider him a pretty wise resource. So I want to say thank you to, him as well as other people in this group that I've talked to on the back end. It's really, it's all been a help, and, this has been a learning opportunity for me. So.
Yeah, I think that we're in that time where we're all starting to realize that we can utilize our own value propositions in the world, and that the old structures that kind of hindered us in a lot of ways, people are waking up to the fact that they don't need them, which is the first steps of obsolescence. And we're seeing a lot of fighting, man, in the world. So it's nice to see that people like you are trying to get people doing things and seeing and showing their value propositions and the things that they can do. The talent is all kinds of cool things.
Exactly. Speaking of crazies, I just had the other day, a bomb went off by my house. So there's crazy people everywhere.
You should go around town to pay skill coins for whoever has the skills to find the person who blew up that bomb.
Oh, he got arrested. He was getting pulled over and set it off while the cop was walking to his car, up to his own, It was an interesting scenario.
Sounds to me like you got the perfect opportunity to go give that cop some skill coins. Tell him he's got skills. Good sir, thank you for taking an oath of the Constitution and finding bombers.
He really took one for the team on that one.
Okay, well, if there's nothing else for anybody, I'm assuming there isn't because no one's spoken up, but maybe Alex, aka Pimo, has something he'd like to say at the very last minutes.
I wouldn't mind giving you a quick comment, even though I'm not Alex.
Sure. Of course.
I just witnessed for the first time using tokens in everyday conversation, which is something I think that is the newest frontier right now. But I see within the next 5 to 10 years, this would be commonplace where people talk about tokens in their everyday sentences, because it's so easy to understand it when you put it into a regular sentence. So that was cool, that interaction you just had about the bomb and the cop and the skill tokens and stuff like that. I was able to follow that completely well when you use it in that way.
Never know what people are going to do with these things, man. Fiats are such poor representations of our value. And pretty much everything up to this point has been, right?
Very true. Hence why they don't work.
Yep. And why you have to send people into other people's houses with guns to make sure that they're valuable. Well, with that said,
exactly.
How do people reach out to you, Bam Bam? Not bombers. I think that he's a nonviolent man.
Yeah, I choose that way. The easiest way is on Discord at BamBam808. I don't exactly know the numbers, but I will put the post that breaks down kind of this discussion that we had today in the chat right now. Ignore the over 100 down or flags, please.
We know that you're up to no good.
But it's oh so fun.
Just like every other ecosystem, Steemit has its own suicide bombers. So don't take offense, especially if you're doing something that you know is valuable. And that goes for not just Steemit, but everywhere, right? All these platforms have a level of power over us, but only if we let them.
Exactly. Can only, if you can't change it, forget about it, more or less, or do something to change it, because then you're just wasting your own time and energy.
Yep. Let's build, baby. And we'll talk a little bit behind the scenes. Now, how does anybody reach out to you if they want to earn some of these skill coins off of you for helping?
Easiest would be probably, like I said, Discord. I'm always online or always checking. Steemit chat, I check every once in a while, but not very often. So yeah, Discord would definitely be, or just comment on one of my posts. I'm always checking Steemit and Discord. So those would be the two ways to reach out.
Are there any other Bam Bam 808s on Discord that might tie people up and confuse them?
I am checking right now.
Hey, I didn't get me no skill coins.
Yeah, I've got to be figuring out how to drop them for the Hangouts. But yes, Alex, hit me up on Discord if you are interested in that.
I think you guys are in part of WhaleBot now too, right? I just added you earlier, I think.
For the NinjaWhale?
Yeah, for the room, I guess, right?
That may be. I know the NinjaWhale project is Bitcoin Venom, so he's got kind of the in-depth details. But I'm getting there with all the details and whatnot, since it was his setup, you know.
Right. Oh, yeah, because I added that. He asked me to add it earlier. NinjaWhale. So it's going to be a new whale bot room.
Sweet. Place for all us ninjas to hang out.
And Pimo spreads his tentacles into another community. Okay. All jokes aside, thank you very much for joining up today, man. And this just goes to everybody here, and everybody who's listening, of course. We don't ask for a whole lot. What I will ask you for is to consider sharing us. Whether you have a bunch of tokens to upvote us or Steam powered upvote us or any of that, what you do have is people who are surrounding you who are interested in the same things you are. And that's a very valuable thing that I ask you to consider not overlooking. Just sharing what we're doing here is one of the biggest things that you can do to help us. So that also, of course, helps all of you. So thank you very much for those of you who are doing that. And I ask those of you who are not to consider sharing the content that happens in these Hangouts and cross-sharing other people's projects, even if you're a guest speaker here. If you think that there are projects that can work with you in the future or that you're interested in or as a secondary project, make sure that you just a quick share, a minute out of your day, and you're helping all these projects to reach a lot more eyeballs, right? And that's what we're trying to do, is give you guys visibility. So with that said, let's go ahead and move to the Nutela transcription team. Is that a good name for you guys, Nutela and Chucky?
That's a perfect name. Nutela, unfortunately, is not here, so I'll be chiming in with the help of Alex Pimores.
Well, fortunately, you're going to be stepping up to the plate then.
Sounds good. So I'm going to go ahead and speak a little bit about this. We're currently transcribing and translating most of the Whaletank talks, as well as the different projects discussed here. We're having a bit of an issue with the amount of work it is. We can't get this covered by 2 people. So I'd love to have people also join us and help us out. We're also working on, with Alex P. Morris, we're working on the whole technical side of the translations and the transcripts. We don't have them yet, but we're working on interactive transcript, which will let you go ahead and click on part of the transcript and it'll take you exactly to that point of the audio. And by having that, there's a lot of people that don't want to listen to the whole Whaletank or the whole BitShares Hangout. So they'll just chime in or tune in to the part that they'll like to listen to and they'll like to hear. As far as that goes, we're getting some work done, a lot of work actually, a lot of research, to be honest, a lot of background work. We recently teamed up with Compound Films. Since this is more of a, more of a marketing plan, right? Because we need to get this reached out to everyone if possible. Since this is more of a marketing plan, what we have in mind is to create a website for the BeyondBitcoin.club. By creating this website, what we will have is these interactive scripts and these interactive videos with slides and more, so people can get, more engaged in the community, more people, pretty much, engage in the community, and we'll be able to read and read along to the audios as well. As far as translations go, we've been working with Oppenheimer on Spanish translations, trying to get the best we can, but I'm up to my head in work with transcriptions and the whole research. So I haven't really had a lot of time for the translations. And we also discussed that it doesn't seem like it's working correctly the way we're doing it. So we're looking for other ways to manage translations using these Nutela coins that you were talking about earlier, that Nutela came out with, to give out to our translators in order to give them some compensation for the work done. As far as the technical side, I'd like Alex to share a bit about how we're going to do this and about the different tools that we have and that we're going to start using. Alex?
Yeah, thanks, Chucky. Okay, So yeah, we've been messing around with a lot of different things, trying to streamline this. And there's actually some amazing open source tools out there. That's funny. Nutela was kind of sending them to me, but he hadn't really looked at them closely. So I'm like telling him, "Have you really looked at this? Because it's kind of amazing what they're doing." I mean, like this Hyper Audio project. It's a free open source project, and basically, like you can take all these types of videos and it'll time each word down, and you can literally like move them around and cut, paste, and mash up videos word by word. So I think they're going to look more into possibly at some point incorporating that kind of functionality, and some other projects also that let you, YouTube is great as far as doing the transcripts, but it's still line by line. So there is added flexibility if you can get each word down, because then if someone says like an or something, you can easily cut that out, or more easily cut it out. But we're still evaluating these, but the tools are there. So like sort of in the interim, I don't want to have to go that far, and certainly not recreate what's already been done. But the program that I made that converts, basically aggregates all the captions together into one file, so that you can, right now we have each stream from Mumble, so you can have all the speakers. You can actually add color. We can put it into a browser in a way where each, you can literally click on the area and it'll jump there. That's where Chucky was saying, have it more interactive. But what I've also added now, I found another great project where they, using machine learning, it'll actually fix the punctuation and some of the spelling, and just adjust a bunch of things. So my program will actually pass each caption off to this service, which is available on the internet, or you can host it yourself, and sort of fix up any of the issues with those captions. And then in addition, now there's a great program called Subtitle Edit. So what it'll also do, you can use this program, and if you want to cut out captions or even cut up, let's say there's a particular caption or even a few words you do want to cut out, you just adjust the captions. You can put in cut or splice, and my program will let you it'll create a batch file and automatically retime all of the captions, split them up into individual files on the splice, or just cut out the entire segments all at once after you run it, which should hopefully significantly streamline the process. So that's sort of the more technical side of it. And if we can incorporate the other stuff, it would be great too. If Nutela or Chucky finds it useful, I can even incorporate it, probably add those formats into this too, and streamline it even more. So, okay, any questions? Back to Chucky.
So yeah, that's pretty much the whole technical side. There's a whole bunch of different tools that we're going to be using. Hopefully we can get all this working. Unfortunately, Steemit doesn't allow JavaScript or any other thing except like plain HTML and some embed features. So what we plan to do is run a website. We were talking about this with Compound Films and with Steam Power Picks and Nutella, where we can have all of this content organized, not only the translations and the transcripts, but we can have all the content, all the different projects organized in one place for easy access for all the community members. So you don't have to go from here to here to here to find what you're looking for. You can just go to one place and you have everything on there. You know what I'm saying? I saw a question by someone about how many languages are going to be supported. Eastmail? Yeah. Right now, we only have Spanish because we only have one other translator except myself, that's Oppenheimer. But we were really, really interested in having a Korean or a Chinese translator, since there's a huge Korean and Chinese community out there. So if anybody is bilingual or can help us out with translations in Korean or Chinese, we would love to have that as well. So yeah, that pretty much sums it up. We have a lot of stuff going on in the background. We would love helping hands if anybody wants to help us out. I'm currently working on setting up a Discord channel for this specifically. I'll get more information about that maybe for next week, or I'll make a post on Steam about it. So yeah, I'd like to open it up for any questions if anybody has any.
So have you had any other people interested in helping you with respect to getting paid for the tokens?
Well, to be honest, last week I only had one person said that they wanted to help me with the translations, and it was a Filipino girl, but she never contacted me again, and so I pretty much dropped that. And well, Oppenheimer recently asked to help us out with the transcriptions, which would be a great help because it's just so much work. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We really didn't have a lot of hands that wanted to help us out.
I can add one thing too that would simplify that a lot, and I'm not sure if Nutela had mentioned it to you, but the subtitle edit program that I had suggested to him, it can actually go through each caption and it'll try and do a Google Translate and such. So it's obviously not perfect, but it does give a good start for an alternate, for another language, which should make it easier for people to come in and just kind of correct the context and other issues that come up.
Oh, that's actually a great idea. Well, what I wanted to do? I wanted to have it the less robotic as possible, to have it more, human, the translations. But to start it off with a Google translation and then send it off to the person helping with the translations for them so they can edit and make it more human, that would be great. Yeah, that's a great start.
Well, I'll say thank you to Pimo, aka Alex P. Morris, for helping with that. Do you think that these tools, when implemented, are going to kind of really substantially cut down on the amount of manual work they're going to have to do?
I mean, you can practically use them as is off of YouTube. Actually, I forgot to mention that part. It creates the, if you've seen some of the videos, the Steemit posts, I totally left that out. It's creating the transcript for you too. So it wasn't so much cleaning up the captions, because that's what you see that YouTube does a pretty good job with that, though of course you can still make it even better. But when I'm cleaning it up for the transcripts that you can read straight out on like in a Steemit post, because sometimes it's easier to follow in that context, paragraph by paragraph, and read it more like a normal flowing article. And of course it makes it great from a search, Google search kind of context as well, which I think that's always a problem. We have all this great content from the Hangouts and projects being discussed, but it's not as searchable, and this is just more ways. Now it's potentially searchable from the YouTube videos, it's searchable from the Steemit posts. We're just putting it out in all different ways. And when you said it looks like it's growing a lot, Whaletank and such, that could definitely be a part of it, because more people are finding it just by whatever they're searching for, because the entire transcripts now are in a much easier way to read. And available, wherever they're searching.
Well, I'll just say I'll give you a lot of credit, man, and I appreciate it. Do you guys feel like, Chucky, do you feel like these tools are going to require learning to use from your side, or does it seem like it's pretty much hands-off on your side?
Well, it does require some learning, yes, because the tools, they're fairly simple to use, but you need some sort of knowledge. So yes, it would require some sort of learning, but once you get the hang of it and some workflow going, it'll be super simple to get through. I really, really like what Alex said about YouTube getting the transcript and the subtitles well, but some stuff like bit shares, for example, it shows up as bit and chairs, or Whaletank shows up as well and tank, So that's all the edits that really need to be made.
Are you getting those phrases like pretty consistently incorrect?
Yeah, there could be a way to automate.
Well, I was just going to say, if you can, I've already done that from the normalizer, but if you can send me like a list of those that are coming up frequently, I can add those to the list and it'll fix those automatically too. And by the way, even that sub edit has like amazing features for fixing up a lot of those kinds of things. So you can even run it through the subtitle edit first through their cleanup, and before you run it through my program, and potentially fix a bunch of other issues. But the beauty of this is, once you send the individual files to YouTube and then you pull them back out again, that could be like, your step one, that's the easiest thing. You just do that and you're done. So each step that you want to take on just makes it better and better. But it's always your choice. Like, it's like, oh, I just can't do this and no one wants to do it this week. Just throw it out in the simplest form you can. If it makes sense to spend more time on it, it'll just be better. So it's kind of additive. It's not like, either or. You can, it's more like filtering a vodka or something. You can still drink it after the first filter, but it's better after the fifth if you want to spend that much or, that much effort.
It is definitely better after the fifth, I'll tell you that.
Or mushroom gravy after you've picked up some natural mushrooms if you grind the mushrooms more. Okay, all joking aside, I'm glad to see that this, to me, it seems like what I'm hearing from Chucky is that you guys are receiving a lot of work, but what I'm also hearing is that most of that work can be cut down, and it's just a matter of taking the time and really kind of working on the automation tools and perfecting them.
Exactly. A lot of that work can be cut down. It's just a matter of time to synergize these tools together so that we can get some kind of workflow going where you would just do A and then go to B and then C and boom, you're done. And after that, it would be a matter of just marketing it and getting it out there to get it to people that want this content, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think I'll say right now, I love the idea that you guys are backing all of this by tools and your own efforts, that to use those tools to amplify what you're doing and the value proposition you can produce. I always like to tell people, we have a term in the military, and that's kind of where I've spent a lot of my life. We would call it force multipliers. So, for instance, a little lady has a gun, and she is approached by somebody who's twice her size who wants to attack her. Now you have a weapon that's a force multiplier. That little lady now is as big as that guy if she knows what she's doing, if not bigger. So he should probably walk away, right? The concept of force multipliers is something that's very important that we can take elsewhere, especially with technology. And what I always try to tell people is, be careful and concerned about your Second Amendment and all that, but also be concerned about your other force multipliers out there. Tyrannies and oppressive regimes always want to take away the force multipliers. They're the big guy who doesn't want the little lady to have a way of protecting herself. Because, well, if I can take away what makes her as big as me, now I can be a predator who doesn't really have to worry about too much. And this is a perfect example of using these tools to amplify and force multiply what you can do alone. And of course, it's going to take some time and effort and learning. But once you have it, it's going to be a very valuable service to us, but also potentially to many other people. And the nutela token could be used for something like that. So I look forward to seeing what you guys do with it.
One last thing, just when you get a chance, check out this other GitHub project. I mean, there's just so much great stuff out there. Literally, you can add extra captions, but one thing right now, since we're not really doing any webcam kind of stuff, it's more just audio. With that application they put together, you can actually put the waveforms and everything and then add some additional notes, so at least it gives it more of an interactive feel if you're watching it off of YouTube or something as well. There's just a lot of cool stuff out there that can just sort of kick it up a notch.
Well, I'll urge you guys, if you find tools that you really love, consider reaching out to the people who are developing them and bringing them on and letting them know that you're doing this stuff. Maybe we give them some tokens. So with that said, thank you guys. How do people contact you if they want to help?
Well, you can contact us on Discord pretty much, or on Steemit. It's at Chucky Fucky or at Nutella or at Alex P. Morris. And you can also talk to Oppenheimer as well. I'm currently working on doing the Discord channel. So once I have the Discord channel going, I'll be sure to share the link here as well as on a Steemit post.
Sounds good, man. Well, we look forward to hearing back from you as often as you guys want to come back. I look forward to hearing the progress.
Thank you.
We'll move on for right now to azizbd, who is going to be working with the School for Underprivileged Children, or is going to be talking about that.
Well, thank you everyone for giving me a chance to present my project.
Thank you for
So,
joining.
thank you. So I joined there 2 times before, but I was not sure how it works. I just thought it's just hang out and chat with people. Well, I live in Sylhet, Bangladesh. My name is Mohammad Abdul Aziz. So I completed my BBA and MBA from a private university. So my childhood was unfortunately not as good as people want. So we are 10 siblings. My father was a teacher. So I had to go city slums school for complete my early child education. Later I got some fund from wealthy families and people, and my brothers also started work, and then I got my graduation complete. So later I thought that why not I should try to help my community and the people who suffers in their childhood. So I started to think and established a school whenever I was going to complete my graduation, and I established a school. It's called School for SDG4. I use SDG4, which is for Sustainable Development Goal 4. It focus on quality education, and I always love to work with UN, and as UN develop the Sustainable Development Goals, so I should work with them. So right now I have 50 children, and I personally fund them from my personal income. Like I teach wealthy families at night, as well as I earn money from online by working as a digital marketer. So after that I got a chance to make an account on Steemit a year ago, and my friend said, why not you try to crowdfund for your project. Later I saw Jerry Benford promotional campaign on Facebook, and I started again my Steemit journey with my charity account School for SDG4. So now I have getting lots of support from Steemit and many support, and I made some campaigns successfully and got such a good result as well as. So if you go to my charity account, you will find everything whatever I did in Steemit. And I also have some other projects, if you see, which is women empowerment, but I don't want to use it because I have other projects, so I should use this one, as I am working with it successfully and working hard with that. So I hope everybody will love this and will interact with posters I made. And I also love to share the story of children I have, and back them to school from their work. Right now I am fully supporting a children who is Alamin, and he works in local market, but he was a student of my school, but unfortunately he started work, and his family was not able to send to school. Then I started to support them from my Steemit, from not my actually my charity accounts, and then I got good result, and 1 month ago he started school again, and I pay around $20 every month from Steemit accounts actually. And I also have some children who go to work as a part-time, but some of them also in risk of their life, risk of their future, as they are not committed to, or they are not in commitment that they will not start work, as family do not support them properly. In my community, in the area I live, it is not to it is city area, but the area I live in here, the wages or the rent is very low, so the people who come from other districts of the country, they try to migrate here, and like rickshaw puller, vegetable seller, beggar, some other people. So I make stories of them
I'll say that I don't know how many of the people who are here or listening have seen how other children, and especially in third world countries, live. But one of the things that I've learned from my wife and from my experiences going over to the Philippines and talking to people from there is that one of the biggest problems for people who are poor in these areas is that they literally have to choose between food and schooling, right?
Sorry, my internet was interrupted or disconnected.
No, you're fine. I was just telling everybody how so often in poor areas that a lot of children, they have to think about food before they can even think about doing homework and learning. It's quite literally that they're on, a lower rung of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, just trying to get the basic stuff, right?
Yes.
So do you guys deal with any of that stuff?
Yes, of course. Actually, I also think like that, as when people are thinking they have no food enough to feed their children, how they will think about education. So that's why actually I cannot afford to feed them every day, as some people also committed that they will, whenever they will be on Steemit, especially thanks to Texno Girl, she said that she will be able to feed them every day if she become will. So I also give them feed every week. If you see the link on the picture, it was today this week's food program, the crowdfund I made from Steemit charity account, and every week I give them fruits, sometimes ice cream or something like that. It also motivates them to come to school, as well as they also get some nutritious foods. And so every Tuesday, or whenever I get the money or I am afford to do that, I give them fruits. We also make like lunch program sometime whenever any donor or someone bringing food for them. And also sometimes sometimes or most of the time I go to their slum and ask mother or motivate them why she or he do not going to school, and try to know and learn. If they need, I try to help. Like this one, if you see Alamin post, he was first student. I started my school on 20 April 2016, and I was fully funding from myself. So since then I started campaign, sorry, not campaign, actually I was promoting on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube and everywhere, but I had no intention to raise fund or anything. Just I wanted to make a portfolio for myself as a volunteer activities, so I can work with any global I can say global organization. So then I got also award from Royal Commonwealth Society, which is based on UK. So I was awarded as associate fellow, and I also engaged with them for networking and opportunity gathering. I also selected for World Merit for quality education and represent Bangladesh, but I couldn't go, though I raised some fund for my travel expenses. And then when I was starting my fundraising campaign, I saw Willshare official Fuji's post and started journey on Discord, and I got Petelancho. She was from Bulgaria, and I said about my project, and she started to think and also wanted to help as much as she can. But unfortunately, there was an accident with her. So then later I got Linda. She was helping, and still now she is helping a lot. she making also campaign on behalf of his school, and also Technos girl, she also making post sometimes to give fruits program. And today I made the overall revenue and expenses I made from Steemit project, and I got, if you can see here, I made the post for as overall expenses and everything I made from Steemit. And then also Technos girl, she also sent some gifts from USA, but was only possible for Steemit as I was promoting my activities on Facebook, Twitter and everywhere, but nobody, I should say nobody, just appreciation, good luck, good job, everything, but it's actually do not feed children. So Steemit made it possible. So I think it is a chance for everyone to gather and help and think something big, if we can make possible in future for a good school or something like that, or run the school. For example, I am just sometimes I give or I get some upvotes from Will, but it's not continue. So I shouldn't say them that to upvote me or upvote the project.
Okay, if you don't mind, we're about 15 seconds left, and obviously you're passionate about this, so I'm going to say one thing, because this is another area. This has been a really good day to talk about helping kids, and that's a soft spot, right? Like, if there's anybody in our that we should be helping most, it's the little ones. And it's smart, because we're going to be, if we're not just thinking about it from a sappy perspective and we're going to be just pragmatists on the surface, these are going to be the people who like run the world after we're in wheelchairs. You know what I mean? So we should probably make sure they inherit a pretty good situation. Now, with that said, one of the things that I would like you to urge you to consider is how BeyondBits can build tools that could help you guys with these things. The upvotes themselves from whales and stuff, I feel like it's hard to do what the mutual aid society concept was meant to do in the very early days. And that's kind of what Steem actually is kind of framed off of, is a concept of mutual aid societies. It's obviously a huge step in the right direction in terms of getting money or tokens circulating into an ecosystem and into the hands of people to build stuff and to do things and to talk about what they're doing and to interact with each other, right? But let's face it, we're not quite to the point where, like you said, you can't build a whole lot if you're not able to rely on a specific whale here and there. So what I would urge you to do, and what I always urge people to do, well, more and more anyway, is I'm starting to realize that one of the biggest value propositions that we can get is to use the tokens that I'm able to give you guys to promote what you're doing, to upvote yourself, to get promoted on the Steemit platform, so people are going to see you because you'll trend. Show them that you're doing good things, use the tokens to then build stuff, or if you want to have me give you guys tokens to build tools that people can use for something like this, I'm very interested. So just keep your mind open as to how we can maybe use tools to help these kids. Some of the tools that we have right now are just the beginning, right?
Yes.
Like, for instance, do you guys have a website yet?
Yes, of course, I have, which is my project website.
Do you guys have any partners or anything like that?
Still now, I have no any partner or any organizational involvement who are funding me.
Well, I'll urge you to come back and continue RSVPing. Bring a plan to me for any tools or any things that you think will substantially help you guys, and let's see what we can do too. And that goes for everybody who's in here. I'm going more and more, I'm leaning in the direction of trying to get tools created for all of us. Because this is, I think, how we create force multipliers that enable us to build whatever we need and leverage the value of the services. But I can't oversee all of them, as I'm starting to realize. So I can kind of take what you guys give me in 15-minute allotments and maybe a little bit more and and give toward these things. But this is a project that I think we could talk a lot about, and I think that the future is going to be built on projects like these. So I look forward to hearing more from you about it. How do people reach out to you if they have ideas or want to work with you in any way, shape, or form?
Well, yes, of course. So I have available on Steemit chat and also Discord. I'm also wheelshares, as well as I'm a community manager on at Secli. As when I was new, I joined there too, and I'm also available on Discord in most of the channels. And if anyone want to email, then I should send.
So the road 2030 at
yes,
gmail.com.
It is actually a global goal. We want to achieve sustainable development goals by 2030.
Man, there's so many things. This is one of the places I've spent a lot of my time studying in my days. So unfortunately, we only have the 15-minute mark, but we will have the after party if you'd like to stick around. Some of these things are very big, and I think we can work together on a lot of these initiatives to help kids, because let's face it, there's a lot of crossover to a lot of the projects that joined up today. Okay, now with that said, let's move on to Steemit World Map. I thank you for being so patient with me. You guys are developing some cool things, and I've been looking at it. But, of course, I'm not the expert, so why don't I step back and let you guys step up to the plate.
First of all, no worries at all. I really enjoyed listening to all the other projects. It's also my first time on the Whaletank, actually, thanks to Steam Power Picks. So, like, obviously, I'm working on the Steemit World Map together with Blue Orgy. I don't know if you guys know him. He's a great guy. Definitely vote him for witness if you can. But basically, I want to keep it kind of short and just walk you guys through how I ended up making the Steemit World Map and why I think it's a pretty great idea. So, I'm very new to everything crypto related, including Steemit. So I think I joined up, give or take, 3 months ago on Steemit. And at first I was skeptical, right? You know, posting on social media, getting paid for that. I think that's a common sentiment for people not into the crypto world and so on. But very quickly, I just started to really, really like it. And it's mostly to do with the community. The community in Steemit is hands down the best online community I've found. And I've been quite active in a lot of online communities. So I started as a writer, mostly for my poetry, and then started working on a novel, and I got so much help on that. And I wanted to kind of give something back to the community. So as a traveler myself, I was thinking, like, how awesome wouldn't it be if you could just go onto a world map and read, like, amazing travel stories, right? So I was like, can I do this? Because I'm a front-end web developer. I'm not that great with the whole Steemit blockchain and so on. So I figured if I am going to do it, I would need to reach out to somebody who could help me with that. So I reached out to Blue Orgy, and he immediately jumped aboard, and we just started working on it. So we started, I think the Steemit World Map is about 2 months now. So I started the Steemit World Map very early on in my Steemit career kind of thing. So when I started it, I really intentionally had it made for travelers, right? I wanted people to post their amazing travel content and let other travelers read it. Kind of like the way I want to compare it with is like a personalized TripAdvisor. Because if you go to sites like TripAdvisor, Lonely Planet, you get really good objective information, but not so good subjective information. It's like, it was great, 5 stars. You don't really know what you're getting into. While with the Steemit World Map, you can really read a full Steemit blog post about somebody who's been there and really experienced it, which, like, I think is a better way of it's better to figure out if that's where you want to go or not. But then what actually ended up happening is that a lot of people started to use the Steemit World Map for other things, which I was not expecting. And at first I was kind of a little bit like annoyed by that. Well, not annoyed is not the right word, but like I was kind of thrown off by that, right? I was like, I've made this for travelers and now people are putting other stuff on there. Like one of the things it's really being used for now is photography. I've noticed a lot of photography posts getting thrown onto the world map now. And so I was like, okay, this is how people want to use it, so I should adapt, right? So I was like, okay, how can I make it a better user experience for all kinds of people? And so I don't know if any of you I have a browser readily available, but if you go to the Steemit world map now, so that's www.steemitworldmap.com, you can go to there's a search function implemented now. And if you go to the search, you see that you're able to search on author, on tag, and tag is the most important one here, because now you can just go in travel or photography or any other tag that you might be interested in. You can just pop it right in there, and by date. Now you'll see as well that there's an editor's choice option there. So obviously I didn't kind of entirely wanted to throw away the travel ID, right? So I was like, how can I still keep that in? And so I started the editor's choice, and basically what that does is, well, first I started it alone. Now I have a team of 6 other people helping me out with that. Is going through all the new posts that are added on day and select the best travel posts. You can find those through the tag Travel Digest on Steemit platform. There we feature them as well and try to get them like a little bit more visibility as well. I've been actually entirely overwhelmed with how big of success the Steemit world map is already. Like, we've been up, like I said, about two months, and we're having 650 markers on the map at this point, and about 180 of them made it into the editor's choice selection. So that's I actually calculated it's 27%. So that means that the content, the travel quality content on the Steemit world map is really, really ridiculously high. So what I wanted to get into before I end my long ass talk here is what we're planning on doing with the Steemit world map towards the future. And there's 3 things that are really like things that we want to implement as soon as possible. The first one is to update. So now if you add your post to the Steemit world map, oh, by the way, you do that through adding a little code in your post. Forgot to mention that, quite important. But if you add that to your post, you'll get an automated comment, right? So you're added on the Steemit world map with the links to your author link and your post link. But we noticed that a lot of people sometimes make errors in the little code that they put in the post. So we wanted to make an error comment. So if something goes wrong, we get a comment saying, hey, look, we think something went wrong. You should probably take a look and fix it, right? Another thing we want to do is update the comments to give people a short how-to. So if they see it on other people's posts, they might want to implement it on their own as well. And then the third thing that we want to do, and that's more my side of things, is currently when you're going to the Steemit world map, you see the big marker clusters, right? Now it's doable, but once you have marker clusters of over 400 posts in there, the loading of the pictures becomes an issue. So I don't know if there's anybody out here who is a web developer, but I'm planning on doing it through lazy loading, which basically means that I will load the pictures only when they're visible. So when they're not in the visible part of your page, when you're not scrolling down yet, they're not loaded, which obviously reduces the bandwidth a lot. One last thing that we're thinking of looking into, but isn't like a sure thing yet, is people can only edit their posts up to 7 days, right? So posts older than 7 days currently cannot be added to the Steemit world map anymore. So we're thinking of maybe making it possible to add in the comments the possibility to let the author of the post make a comment to link that post into the Steemit world map later on, even after the 7 days expired.
Yeah, I like it.
Thank you for listening, and I really hope you guys are as excited about the Steemit world map as I am.
Of course, I'm very interested in it. I will say that there are some things that maybe you don't want to post. How close can you see where this is? Like, can you see the exact city? Can I go down into this map?
You can zoom in all the way, and it's literally up until exact coordination. So you could literally put as close as like a square meter on the map.
So somebody could get within a meter of my house. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, if that's where they want to put their posts, yeah, they can.
Okay, but you don't necessarily have to do that, I guess.
So basically, let me just walk you through it real quick with a simple post. So basically, if you make a post, right, it's not like it takes your coordinates and then just puts it in. You have to put them in yourself. So that makes it that even if you're posting from your home, you can put the coordinate from a travel post from somewhere else, because you're not always going to be posting from the same spot that the post is about, right?
Yeah.
So basically, let me just I'll just read out like one that I just put up on one random post that's on the Steemit world map now, right? And so the code that specific person put in his post is Steemit world map, then their latitude coordinates, lat, then their longitude coordinates, long, then their description, and then they end it with the tag D3SCR. Now, the reason the tags are a little bit like strange is because we can't have them pop up twice in a post, because that would obviously mess up the bot.
Yeah. Now, if somebody does that, does it mess it up for them and they don't get to use it, or does it just kind of omit the second portion?
So if somebody gives an incorrect input, it will just not get added to the map, but you're always able to edit it. So sometimes I catch people making small mistakes in the little code that they've put up, and I already have a how-to part on the personal Steemit World Map Steemit account. So that obviously helps, but when people make a mistake and I catch it myself personally, then I do tell people like, oh, look, it looks like you made a small problem, but that's the part we want to automate. So we want to really catch those errors and tell people, look, it's not added to the map, something went wrong, take a look and try to fix it.
This is an awesome project, man. I think of all the different things that could be used for. Have you considered that maybe you could have it where if somebody goes to one of these locations, they can drop tokens and stuff for something? Like maybe I go to a famous restaurant and I can actually drop tokens because I'm a famous travel blogger and I give my reviews and all that stuff. And hey, at this location, I wrote my blog about their business and what they're doing. And by the way, if you come over here, you're one of the first 100 people over here, you'll get a token that'll give you something free there. Okay, let's just make a real quick example. Let's say I'm a business owner and I own a rib shack, and you are a traveling guy who goes to different restaurants and blogs about them and things like that, right? Like maybe you have your own coin, or we give you a coin to sponsor you, and when you come in to do the blog, you can post on something like Steemit World Map that you went and visited this place and you share dropped some tokens there, and if you go there to that location, you can receive one, and like maybe the first 100 get something free from my rib shack or something like that. Like I'm just thinking of the kinds of things that you can do and the partnerships you could make that would bring a lot of value.
I see what you're trying to say, but I think it would be, first of all, very hard to put into reality, because how are you gonna check people are actually been there? They're just not making shit posts on Steemit with those coordinates in there, right? If it's like a fully automated process, because if you have to do it manually, I think after a while it will be next to impossible. So I don't know how feasible it is, because we also don't use a login system. We're basically just using Steemit as verification, right?
I'd be interested. I won't say that it's not possible, because I tend to think a lot of things are, but from a technological perspective, maybe you have some insights that I don't. So unfortunately, 15 minutes is probably not enough time to talk about it. But does anybody have any questions or comments other than myself for the Steemit World Maps? I'm seeing a lot of people talking about it.
I could see that, for instance, myself, if I wanted to go to Steemit World Map, and I took a glance at it, it looks like it's mostly photography and travel related. If I wanted Steemit World Map to find the next get-together in a local city for just friendly Steemit people, I would like to see a map of just that. Or if I wanted to see businesses that actually take Steam-backed dollars, SPD, I would like to see a map of just that. Like a templated map of some sort by category, so that I could see the same map but get different views based on the information or category I was looking for.
So yeah, that's in a way already possible, but it just depends on how people actually will start using it, right? So we have the tag system. So let's say you're looking up for meetups, right? So probably a Steemit meetup would have the tag meetup in their post, and then you select the meetup, you select the date. So let's say you're only looking for posts that are maximum a week old, and then you go to the search feature, you put in the tag meetup, and then you just put the date for the date you want, like the date you're available, and then you can take a look around. That could possibly work, but then somebody would have to advertise that it can be used in that way.
Yeah, the interface itself should have like a click here for small tutorial or something like that, and then the next screen would actually show you how you could narrow it down like that. I think that would give a lot more use to it. It has to be right on the user interface itself, a chance to see that.
You could do something where people could go to that location and have to find something to take a picture of. Somebody did that on Steemit about 6 months ago.
Sorry, can you repeat one more time? So just like the people go to a location, take a picture of it?
You can say that something is there, so if they wouldn't be able to prove it unless they actually went to that location and found what they were looking for, you can briefly describe it, but they'd actually take an actual picture.
I see what you're saying, but like, how are you gonna get like to be sure that that's not a copied picture? Or yeah, like I said, I think I see what you're saying, right? But then again, I think it would still be very hard to verify it, because how do you know they're not taking a picture from somewhere online, from somebody else who already posted it? It would have to be through a fully automated process, because we're getting, like, it just started now, right? And we're getting give or take 30 posts a day now. Considering I'm expecting it to go up to, let's say, 100 in 6 months' time a day, it would nearly be impossible to solo check through all of that.
Of course, it's not simple.
You'd have to get together with somebody like eSteam, but not eSteam may not do it, but an app developer, because if you ran an app on your phone that worked with Steemit World Map, you could take the GPS off your phone from that app. That would make that totally automated.
Exactly.
If you want to give that level of power, of course, to that app. But we are past time on this one, and there is no token available for extra time. So I would love to continue with it. Maybe we could talk about this a little bit during the after party.
I'll definitely be available for the after party. I have to do a little bit of work as my travel digest post is coming up in an hour, but after that I should be available.
Sure, we have 2 more people who are going to be talking, so that's another 30 minutes, and then probably about a 10-minute break, and then we'll start the after party.
All right, awesome. Then I'll see you guys there.
Sounds good, man. And this looks cool. I'm not going to lie to you, it looks cool.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Up next, Marky Mark, feel free to step up to the plate and let everybody know a little bit about the updates that you're going to be providing today, and I'll go ahead and step back.
All right. The first thing I wanted to talk about, Build a Whale. We're up to 470,000 steam power and growing. I'm not stopping there, but that's where we're at right now. Just taking a little breather right now. So we have about a $48 upvote. Once Steam recovers, we're looking at about $65, $70 upvote. Right now, we're actually currently the largest whale on the bidding platform, and that's only because Booster has split their window into two 50% windows. Outside of that, we're the highest. I think Belly Rub's going to come past us because they're going for 1.5 million soon. Unfortunately, we pay for our steam power, so we can't grow as fast, where a lot of these people are actually getting it for free. We're really cheap. I'm actually paying for it. I'm at about $12,000 a month right now for what I have. So the next thing is my Witness campaign. I am running Witness, and I've been getting some big feedback on how I've been doing and some big votes on there. I recently lost Jerry Banfield's vote, which doesn't really faze me much. It was a huge vote, but I had to step out and speak up about what he was doing because he was scamming, running a big scam, and I had to say something even knowing that I would lose 1 gigavote vested vote. So that hurts, but moving on. So if you guys haven't voted for me, the Marky Mark.
All right.
I'm number 70 right now. So if you haven't voted and you don't know how to vote, or you don't know why to vote, there's a really good post from some guy 123 that talks about what a witness is and why you should vote and what you should vote for and why. But I would suggest looking at that and figuring out people that you believe in. I vote for about 10 people, I believe, right now. So I still have like 20 votes available, but I'm very picky on who I vote for. I decide based on who they are and whatnot. The next thing I wanted to talk about is the token I made last night. It's called MarkerCoin, basically off of Marky Mark, but it also symbolizes a marker, kind of like can be used in casino, but it could be used as a marker for a value. And what its point is, so what we can do is initially we're going to have it for sponsored curation. So we're going to assign how many value. We have to figure out how much I'm going to make it for. But you can turn in so many markers and get a sponsored curation for free. The people that win the weekly contest for our curation digest can win marker tokens as well. And we're going to have some new services coming out, like a whale trail and a couple other things that they'll be available for as well. So it's not going to be for specific one thing. It's not like 4 sponsored posts. It's going to be a marker that represents a value. Currently, we're putting it at about 5 BTS, so about 25 cents is what I'm valuing it at. And then depending on the service, we'll set the value on how many markers it's going to cost to buy that service or use that service. Right now, the current service is sponsored curation, which is generally 3 Steem. So I'm thinking whatever that comes out to, I think it's like 20 markers or whatever it is to come up with that value. And then we're going to have a whale trail that they can take advantage of as well. And then we're looking at some other things, like I'm looking at putting a game online that they can fund in tokens, and then when they go on the website, they'll be able to play it and they'll show their things, and then they can basically extract it from there or whatnot. Let me see what else we have. I am part of Build Team now. A few people know that, but I'm working with Reggae Muffin now with getting a full node up and some other things, and we're going to announce that soon. But I'm also working on some other projects with them, and we'll be doing things under their banner now. I still have Build a Wheel as completely my own project, and it's not owned by Chief or anybody else, and it's going to be completely separate. But I am working with them to do some other things, so I'm excited about that. I think that's about it, and I have a new GIF, if you guys haven't seen it, on my RSVP that is my Firefly theme, because I'm a huge nut about Firefly. I almost made a token about Serenity token, but I ended up going with the marker. I think it represents a value better, and it doesn't have to be explained. So, anyone have any questions or want to talk about anything? Marker is my token. Bob the Builder 1999 is my account. So I created it this morning and assigned 100,000 out of the 1 million total.
So I have some questions, but first, does anybody else have any questions or comments?
I'm trying to find the Steemit link for it because I just went to the Marky Mark and I didn't see it.
What are you looking for?
Everything you just said, but in a blog post. Does one exist?
Not for a blog post, no, but I do have a comment, the RSVP that is there, which has that. I don't have anything talking about the marker or talking about a trail or any of that stuff yet.
Okay, thanks.
And the token is on the market. It's set up. I have a sell order for it right now that people can buy them, but I haven't done anything related to announcing it or anything like that. But I do have a link in there if you wanted to take a look at it. It's 1 million total. I only have issued 100,000 right now, so kind of the standard stuff I put on it. And I'm pegging it around 5 BTS, but that may change as we figure out what we want to value and how many we want to do to each service we offer. But it's basically going to be a generic, it's going to be our own currency for the services we provide.
This is nice, man. It's good to see that you're doing all these things and backing the tokens. It started out quite difficult for you, though, right? It wasn't easy getting to where you've gotten.
Oh, no, because I haven't had any sponsorships or anything, and unfortunately, it's been a struggle. Even to get Steam Power, even though I'm paying a fortune for it, I had to fight for that. And it's not because people handed it out to me. I had to actually fight to even get somebody to take an offer, let alone any assistance on it. It wasn't like a lot of the people I'm competing against have been given 500,000 Steam Power. Hey, here you go. And they don't pay for it. And right now, I am struggling to break even because I'm paying for all the Steam Power. And the rates for Steam is very expensive. I have a decent rate, better than most, but it's still expensive. And it's not like I can just say, okay, every bidding window I make money on. It's if I make over a certain threshold, I break even, and that's about it. Whereas you have a lot of the other players have 650,000 Steam just donated from one of the community members, and then everything they make off of it is profit. They don't have any leases or any costs assigned to it. And at that point, you're making a fortune. But for me, it's pretty much, I'm just struggling just to break even, but it's about building something rather than just washing cash like a lot of the other ones can do because they own it, which is fine. I have nothing against it. Just I don't have that luxury to say that somebody's sponsoring me with 600 Steam and it's pretty much just profit coming in. So it's been a huge struggle.
Can I ask you, have you factored into all of this, the price of Steam, if it were to go down substantially for any reason, would this cause significant harm to you?
Price of Steam is actually a good thing for me when it goes down. It's when it goes up, it hurts. The reason for that is, and that's something that I'm considering changing. But right now, I pay for my Steam Power in Steam. So the change doesn't affect that. What does affect me, though, is if I give out a $48 upvote and I get $20, $30 back, and Steam goes up, and I convert that to Steam to pay my bill, I am paying more for what I got. If it goes down, it's actually better because then I can get more Steam for what I've gotten for bids. and the bids don't adjust immediately. So say, for example, I'm at $50 right now. Steam goes through the roof. It's $1.50 thing, and it goes back to where it's at. Now I have a $75 upvote. People are still bidding based off of a $50 upvote, so the window may not go up as quickly. It may take a few things, and I'm losing money on those things because I have to take that and convert it to Steam to cover that. And so I do it. I try to float it when it's high, and then if I predict it's going to go low, then I sell out a lot when it's low. And as I get more in the coffers to cover that, I can wait a little bit longer. But right now I'm doing it very quickly, so I don't have a luxury of waiting for the prime time to convert. But I recently bought a lot of Steam on Bittrex when it was down at 96 cents to cover some float that I can bring in as I need it to cover it. And so that'll help if it doesn't make the window. But I know each week I'm going to probably be shy of what I need to cover the week. And that's going to be an ongoing problem until either I get a sponsor that can give me Steam Power cheap or free to sponsor it, or I get a better rate, which isn't likely going to happen, or I get more popular and it just becomes easier to get to that break-even point.
Well, I'll say one thing that I'm going to be interested in seeing is how your services might even apply across other networks. Because, let's face it, the things that you're building, they work with Steam. They'll probably work with other things, too, that are going to be out. So
that's a big point of the marker token, too, is that's a cross-platform currency. And that's why I built a token that's kind of a generic marker. It stands for a currency that can be used any platform I'm on.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions or comments for Marky?
I've got a small question about these whale services that are popping up, because now that it used to be like there'd be like the top 3 or top 5. Now there's like got to be over 20 or 30 of them now. They're starting to come, and each one's run a little differently with a lot of different reasons to them. There's still a social consensus that they're negatively seen by some people. You know, for instance, pornography sites would have at the bottom of their screen, they would have like, you know, we're listed with the nanny software or something like that, so that, you know, parents could install this nanny software on their computer, and any type of URL that went to a porn site, you know, it was self-sufficing that they wouldn't have to worry their kids would get to it because they'd self-list. Whales, you would think that whale systems like this, you'd think would have some sort of guard on junk posts getting run through it, whether or not you run the coins or something. They would subscribe to a nanny type system, or like Steam cleaners or something of that caliber, where it supports it, so that or Sherlock Holmes or whoever it is that's out there on Steam, you could give them free votes for their work. At the same time, they're selling to curate, and it's like a policing thing. You kind of understand where I'm going with this. I don't want to put words into anybody's mouth, so go ahead and take over.
Yeah, I have a comment about that. It may not be what you want to hear, but first off, right now, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's about 10 bots that do what I do that are very popular, and they do all have their own little quirks and ways of doing things. What changes the game is there's only 3 that have any Steam Power, and Steam Power is gold on Steam. It drives the game. Without Steam Power, it doesn't matter. You could do any ideal you want, and for the bidding bot world, and it's not going to matter. You can have 40 upvotes that are worth 0, and it's not going to change anything until you get Steam Power behind it. And right now, the 3 players are Belly Rub, Booster, and myself. And then we have Boomerang that's catching up a little bit. They're at $11. And I would say they're a considerably good player, because that's significant and that's worth something. But a lot of the bidding bots are under $1 or $2 or $3. And though that's great, it's just not going to change the game. So I don't worry about those too much in terms of things. And like I said when I first started this whole thing, it's all about supply and demand. There's a lot of demand. Lots of people have posts that aren't getting seen, that they want something boost or some value, and that's where the supply is just so low, and that's why I built Build a Whale. To answer your second question about the nanny thing, I'm going to tell you a little secret about Steam, and it's not what everyone wants to hear, but every freaking thing on Steam is a self-vote. Everyone is self-voting themselves, and you can call it whatever the hell you want to call it, but they're either buying a bidding bot, they're doing a self-vote, they're voting on themselves, Or like David Ding, he's making a bunch of alt accounts that have porn star avatars, and then going in to introduce himself, does a comment, then he upvotes it for $15 and gets $3 in curation rewards. You got a friend that you say, hey, can you vote on my post? I'll vote on yours. That's an upvote. You could boil down every single thing that's going on. It's all an upvote that you're doing by yourself and that you influenced. So you could say bidding bots are bad. I see them as paid advertisement. Like if I put out a newspaper article, I'm going to pay for advertisement or whatever. It's how I see it. I mean, if I go to Facebook, I can pay for advertisement and self-vote my comment. I mean, it's no different. I see it as advertisement, and I know a lot of people don't like self-voting. I don't like it. I will not self-vote on Marky Mark or Build-A-Whale, and I get a lot of people that are asking me for Build-A-Whale votes, and I'm very firm. I will not give out any votes out of that. It's for the window for the bidders, and I will not dilute that. There's other services that will sell you an upvote for $10, and they pull it out of that pool, and then everyone that's bidding gets screwed over. And unfortunately, that happens, or they use to flag people and vote on their own stuff or whatever, and it ruins the product that's selling, and that's something I won't do. But if you boil everything down, it is a self-vote, and people can take the high road and come up with their explanations for everything, but it's all self-voting. And to me, I see it as promotion. It's like going to the promotion tag, burning the Steam. It's just paying for exposure. Fortunately, you get back something with doing it because you get paid for it. But and you're giving back to Steam, because if I spend $10 for a self-vote through a bidding service and I get a $10 vote, I just gave $2.50 to the community for being part of my post and doing it. So you're not getting 100% back. I'll end it, but that's my theory on the whole thing. And again, if you want to reach out to me, I'm always on Steemit chat as the Marky Mark. I'm on Discord. I'm usually pretty easy to find. I have a dedicated screen to it, so.
Well, I'll say I appreciate what you're doing, and I understand the difficulties and the struggles. That's why we do kind of what we do. It's probably why we're not exactly always popular. But a lot of the people here, you guys have been doing some amazing things, and Marky, you're one of them. So I'm glad to hear the updates that you're giving today and seeing the progress you're making, despite, of course, the difficulties that come along with it. And I won't lie to you, it is paid advertising, but like I tend to say is like, what if those people turn around and now, the self-upvoters going out and downvoting other people at some point in time. There's a lot that Steam has, a lot of value that Steam has, but it has some ways to go, and I sincerely hope that we spend time trying to fix those as opposed to trying to make a dime off of everything. You know what I mean? There's a lot of value that you have built, for instance, with the resources that you've been given. So it's good to see that there are people like you out there, man. You keep the price of Steam power up. So thank you. How do people reach out to you real quick before we step up to
Steemit chat, they can reach me. I'm not a big fan of Steemit chat, but I use it a lot because it's slow. I am on Discord all the time. You can go to the Build-A-Whale or Whale Shares, or anyone knows how to find me there. That's usually the best way because I have a dedicated screen for Discord, so it's pretty easy to grab me there.
Cool. All right.
Or you can grab Steam Power Picks and you can always find me too.
Sounds good, man. Well, thank you very much for joining up today, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to the final participant for discussions today, and that is going to be Robin Hutt.
Hello, everyone.
It's nice to hear from you, man.
Yeah, man, it's been a while. I've been incredibly busy, but I've taken time off to come and have fun with you guys.
Wonderful.
I'm Robin Hutt. Most of you probably know me. I've just started on university and my master's degree. That's why I've been incredibly busy. I've been commuting 5 hours daily, and other than that, I've been, writing projects and theses and stuff. So, but now I have a small window of time where I can talk to you guys and have some fun with that. I wanted to talk to you today about lectures I've been starting on the university that I'm attending. So I've actually started doing lectures for my own semester as well as other semesters on the university about blockchain, cryptocurrency, and such, starting of course with Bitcoin, but moving into other cryptocurrencies and blockchains as I go along. I did the first lecture this week. It was about, what is Bitcoin? What is blockchain? How does mining work? And then I went into talking about Ethereum, Steem, BitShares, and just for fun, I also named Dogecoin. Then I, of course, talked about some philosophical and ideological aspects of decentralization and what it means for society and such. And I also named a few projects, among others, Open Ledger, which most of us use to trade coins, I suppose. So next, I have a workshop coming up. It's going to be a practical workshop about cryptocurrency, and it's going to be how to use it. So I'm going to make participants use the BitShares test network, and they're going to send tokens to each other. I'm creating a test token, and we'll be paying each other for goods and services during the workshop. And then I will have the participants use that and try and see if they can come up with interesting ways of using crypto transactions, how they can enhance or even replace classic credit card and wire transfer payments. And of course, that will lead into a discussion on how, on the usefulness of cryptocurrency. And of course, I wanted to come on here to get some help with the workshop. I've also written a post on Steemit asking the same questions. I haven't gotten any responses yet, but I did just post it today. Now, I asked, what would you like to know when you first started out? Did you have any troubles when you first started, and if so, how? Now that you know about crypto and blockchain in one way or another, what would you like to learn about next? And I also asked, have Steemit helped you learn about crypto blockchain, and if so, how? So I hope you guys would check out my post and answer some of these questions so that it can help shape the workshop. And I also wanted to ask everyone if they had any ideas on how to proceed. Obviously, one thing I've considered is to see if I can get the university to pay me just a small amount for doing it. Right now I'm doing it voluntarily in my time off, but hopefully I can get some support for it so I can keep up these blockchain lectures. Just to state why I did it, I was very surprised to find out that there was actually not one single professor doing lectures on blockchain technology, not even the very basics of it. And so I figured, well, I know a little bit about it, so I'll start teaching people and try to get people involved, which at some point hopefully will lead to that the university will start, focusing more on blockchain and cryptocurrency, and especially the younger generation will start, in Denmark anyway, will start using cryptocurrency and finding out the great aspects of what we all love here. So, what I wanted you guys to ask if you have any ideas on how to create or inspire something for that workshop, how I should go about it, and what I might have missed.
Before I customarily step in with my big mouth, does anybody have any comments themselves?
As a matter of fact, you should reach out to Open Ledger, who has a whole curriculum put together for such a thing.
Yeah, can you elaborate?
Contact me on Discord. I don't have it at the tip of my fingers.
All right, I actually figured I would visit Open Ledger. So I live relatively close, and I have written Ronnie once, asking if they wanted to do something with the university. And he said that he was open to cooperating on different projects with the university. So maybe I should go forward to that. But I'll definitely write you and see about the curriculum.
Yeah, it's just started that, and I don't know exactly what phase it is at and everything. I only saw part of it. But definitely reach out to him. I think that would benefit the both of you. And all of us for BitShares and Open Ledger as well.
Yeah, I figured I would use BitShares since it seems to be the easiest way to have test transactions. And also the way BitShares does it with you are able to have a name instead of just a random set of numbers and words makes it maybe more easier to visualize how the system works, I hope.
Well,
of course, the human readable aspect. Go ahead, Fuzzy.
No, go ahead. Does anybody else have anything that they'd like to bring up regarding their thoughts on it?
I have something that's kind of important to explain about this. Prior to the World Wide Web, if you can ever imagine a time where there was no such thing as browsers, people are using things called Gopher to be able to use it in text form. And Internet Relay Chat was one of the first few forums that was giving interaction between people and universities. They first started the internet with universities linking each other for different content through Gopher. And what happened is that people from the outside started using this chat system. And a buddy that explained this all to me told me that he got first involved on the internet because of Internet Relay Chat, which was fueled by university students. Now, you take that and you lock that concept into a period there. You also have Facebook. Facebook was designed, coming from the university level, and that's how Facebook came to be. Now, it's kind of silly that cryptocurrency is going to universities last, when that's exactly where we should be going first. So I applaud Robinhood here for everything that he's doing. And the only suggestion I would have is that universities are competitive, like for university sports and different things like that. If there's a way to get universities to use crypto in some sort of competing way so that it's more valuable for you get your university up and, in the know than some other university, and there's a way to get recognition of it between, you'll create a buzz, and then all of a sudden everybody will be interested in this a little bit more. That's the only suggestion I have for you.
I got an idea in the making. You'll hear about it in a few months.
Yeah, thanks for the comments, and I'm glad you guys like the idea. I agree that the university should absolutely be a place where you should be working with such a thing, like blockchain and cryptocurrency, because not knowing about that, not having a younger, smart generation know about it, as you say, it's hard to get something to kick off if, the kids don't want to work with the thing. And if they don't learn about it, they're not going to be able to use it when they get older and when they start getting jobs here and there. So that's definitely also a motivation for me as to do this.
Well, what I can say is there's been a common undertone for education on a lot of fronts today, and all of them touch on cryptocurrency. We have a network that Compound Films is working with, building for us. So if you do any of these and you would like them to be live and posted, feel free to reach out to me. We could even have it potentially so it's live and streaming once we get everything set up. I'm very much looking for people who want to represent cryptocurrency in these facilities, and also people who want to run their own hangouts and podcasts and just various things to this effect. I'm asking Compound to oversee a lot of that stuff as far as bringing people on to work with it, but I would urge you to consider reaching out to him, largely because what I'm going to start doing is I started doing some things with, getting a tool ready for us to, to do tutorials and stuff, and it became kind of obvious to me that we needed to do it in a little bit different way because it was becoming difficult in the way that we were doing it. Let's just say that. So I'm thinking more getting you guys together who want to educate people on blockchain and leveraging what we have to build some tools for that. Obviously, Compound Films is going to be helping substantially with building the Beyond Bitcoin network out, which is going to be primarily people who are going to be offering insights, hangouts, tutorials, news, and stuff like that. So I would urge you to consider reaching out to him because he's given some decent resources to play with and build the things that you guys need. And that's the thing that I think I can do to leverage to help you guys the most. Those of you who are interested, like Virtual Growth and you, if you guys are both doing something. But thanks, man, for what you are doing, because this is what Google does. This is what Ethereum did. They went out to universities, right? Like, they're going there because that's the future. That's where the people who are going to join the workforce and have the money and capital and time to invest in different things. This is what, those are the people we want to get cryptocurrencies into the hands of.
Yeah, man, I agree completely. And also it's just fun to talk about stuff that interests you. And well, I got very good response from the first lecture I did. Mostly everyone seemed excited. Although I think a lot of people also felt some sort of information overload. Because if you don't know anything about Bitcoin at all, there's so much you have to know to sort of just understand the basics. Like, you must know what is decentralization and how does a blockchain work and what is mining and, why should you use Bitcoin instead of, not just Bitcoin, but cryptocurrency in general instead of whatever else. So I think some people felt that, but there was a good discussion afterwards as well. People asking questions about how they could use it in the future and how it works in practice and, which is also why I'm doing the workshop soon. So yeah, I hope you guys will go to the link I sent. I can send it again. And just answer the few questions. They're very informal questions, just meant to help me inspire how I could go about both the workshop, but also if you have suggestions for other things that you want students to learn, then please feel free to reach out to me on Steemit, or you can always reach out to me on Discord as well.
Have you considered making your own little token?
For my university? Or
maybe just passing it out to the people and then saying, hey, oh, by the way, I'll give you guys some of the token at the university.
So
I was
I've
just
actually
thinking about it.
I've considered that, and I've joked about having a token for the university as well with the students, so we could pay each other for beer or cleaning up the room or something stupid. But
yeah, who knows?
There's also a few legal aspects I have to consider before going about that, I think. Because I can't... It's a bit semi-dangerous, I suppose, to start a currency for that specific area. Especially because the universities in Denmark are funded, so everyone has free education. So if I start paying people on top of that, I don't know. I'll have to see if I can go about it in some way that doesn't offend anyone.
What about if you get one of the students to create the token, and then they handed it out amongst themselves, and you just communicate the information that one is available?
Yeah, maybe that's the way to go about it. I could definitely do that. But to begin with, I'll just create a token on the test network so that people can try and send it to each other. And then at some point, I know it'll be deleted and it'll be worthless, so it wouldn't matter what happens, I suppose. But yeah, maybe I'll create a token myself. I mean, I am a student myself, so I'm not liable in that sense. I mean, the same thing can happen to me as anyone else. But, I think there's a few things you need to consider first, probably. We'll see. But it's a great idea nonetheless.
Well, I know that my brother, from a tax perspective, of course you're in a different place, but he was saying that the Beyond Bits that I give out, they are actually an expenditure. That's something that I can take off of my taxes, my taxable income every year. And I assure you, I give out way more than I earn. Like, ridiculous amounts more than I earn. So it's actually a really big value proposition for me to be able to build stuff with them. Because they also... No, I'm not going to talk about that. But what I guess my point is, as long as it's not tied to a promise of necessarily money... Obviously, with BeyondBit, it's a slightly different thing, or a promise of any sort. And you just kind of make it clear this is a community token, that, it's a test, we're trying it out, and, then you're generally okay as long as you're not taking money for it.
Yeah, what I mean? Right. Yeah.
So as long as you're not taking money from it and not giving somebody something that was promised, you're generally okay. And even with something like the Beyond Bits, since there's no real mediator and it's a kind of a gray space, you can use upvotes to a degree too. That's from what... Now, he said, he's not a lawyer on this, but he works for one of the big five or big four accounting firms. So he does know what he's talking about.
Well, yeah, maybe you're right.
Well, who knows? But something worth exploring, maybe. I just find myself thinking that, because like what Bam Bam said earlier today, he said whenever he made his token, that they were just people who wanted to come around, who wanted to get tokens. So I was thinking maybe that would make it easier for you, instead of asking for money up front, distribute tokens, and you have tokens that are worth something the more people use them. Just a thought. But yeah.
Right.
Very interesting, man, and I'm glad you're doing it. I'm glad that people are stepping up to the plate and rocking it. If you need anything from me, let me know, and I'll definitely support you with what we can do.
Yeah, man. Well, I don't know specifically what I could need, but at least just wanted to let everyone know that the BitShares network, for those of you who are interested in that, is getting spread in Denmark now, a little bit at least, other than, of course, Open Ledger, which is amazingly huge. And also, of course, as always, I try to do everything I promise. And I promised to do a talk on this a while ago, and in a Steemit post, and now I did. I mean, thanks for the support. I can only say that the professors I've talked to about the lectures that I've given, some of them attended it just to see how I was doing. They were overwhelmingly positive and thought it was a very good way of going about it. They thought it was interesting, and they learned a lot themselves. So I think it's definitely something that could be much bigger if I can get more people on board it, more people helping maybe in the future to help with lectures and such.
Well, we have passed the 15-minute mark. We do have the Whaletank after party, though. So before we tie this all together, how do people reach out to you if they want to work with you in any way, shape, or form?
Just reach out to me on Steemit or on Discord. On Discord, you can find me. Well, you can find me in the Whale Shares Discord, of course. I am Robin Hutt. You can find me under the Royal Guard tag, so it should be almost at the top. And if you can't find me there, you can try on the Looking for Niche Discord. I'm an admin there, so I should be very visible there. And then just click on my name and write to me.
All right, man. Well, thank you for everybody who joins up to these Hangouts every week. As you can see, we have a lot of people who really have interesting ideas and they want to build something cool. So let's try to enable them and let's try to give them the support when they need it in the ways that we can give it. Obviously, one person can't do it all, but together we can do a lot. Even if we only just offer a little bit or what we consider ourselves to be a little bit, it's always better than nothing, and it does add up. So please share this content, upvote it, let people know what's going on with these different projects and work with each other. One of the things that's going to be very valuable is that all of you are going to, over time, find that there are certain people in these Hangouts who have very similar goals. Why not leverage them and work together if you can, at least to build the tools that you guys are going to need, and maybe offer a template for everybody to use and kind of exemplify what you want other people to mimic. This is the type of stuff that we do talk about afterwards during the after party. So it's very worthwhile to join up on Saturdays. At this point in time, you don't even have to get up early. You can just join up for the after party if you want and mix and mingle and talk about things with people. We have separate rooms in here that if people even want to leave and talk about something separately, they're more than welcome to do so. This is our own private server, so we don't have to trust anybody but ourselves. And really, this is here for you guys. So I look forward to using this little service here and the other services that everybody's providing every week and seeing you guys next week, those of you who are SVP. And thank you for everything you do.
You've been listening to the Beyond Bitcoin Whaletank. As a reminder, be sure to follow the Beyond Bitcoin tag on Steemit, as well as our Hangout host Official Fuzzy for the latest Whaletank updates. From all of us here at the Beyond Bitcoin Whaletank, we want to thank you for being a part of the discussion.